Happy May. Oh my god. So like just now my cat had been sitting on my lap and I was like, "Oh girl, you're so heavy. You're so heavy." But I know that she gets up the moment I start yapping. She hates when I talk. And sure enough, she just got up. Oh, baby, you're very cute, but you are big fat stinky butt. And I love you. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, Mojave. Welcome in, Marcos. Welcome in, Halt. Welcome in, Lottie. How are you? I'm doing another chill GIF stream just because I don't know how long I'll be on. Oh my god! Mojave, thank you for the silver stars. But yeah, I was not going to be on too long this day, no more than 2 hours, because I have admin work that could drop at any second. I'm hoping, because I told everybody to leave me alone for these 2 hours. I'm hoping I don't have to do my admin work, but it may come up. Anyways, how are you guys enjoying May? Are you guys happy to be in the new month of spring? One last month. Can you believe spring is going by so quickly? It was like March just yesterday, but now it is May. Though I love May. But I most love June, and that's because it's the first of summer, and then also the 1st of June is my birthday, so I have a little bit of a bias. But nonetheless, oh my goodness. We had a good episode. We had a good episode this week. Hi everybody. Welcome in, John. How are you today? I hope you are doing well. I hope you guys have had a good week. It's already my birthday month. Ooh, when is your birthday, Lottie? When will we celebrate you? And then in the meantime, I will start cracking at some gifts. This one actually will be very short because I think this loops really easily. I didn't realize they changed it to say finding the truth. That's a very silly way to say that you're just sitting there and detecting edges. But yeah, this one I think will be really fast because I think there's really only 4 frames in this loop. So it will be quite easy. Oop, wrong layer. Boop. Do. My gosh, in Brazil it's fall. Oh, that is true. You are on the southern hemisphere. It's kind of cold. Oh, yeah, you're probably starting to get into the colder months. You're at the edge of the fall warmth. Though to be fair, today I think it started out like 40 degrees this morning, where I'm like, for people who are Fahrenheit people, it's kind of chilly. 40 is quite cool when the previous day was 70. Though I don't think it's supposed to get warm until Tuesday. I also know the arm changes. I was like, could I just use the same mask for everything? I could not. It does change. Alright, let's hop on into that one as well. Yes, because I'm going to an anime convention this month. I go to every year. Oh, that's so fun. I hope you have a wonderful time. I feel bad because I gotta save money this year for important things, so I will not be going to any conventions this year. I am going to be broke for the rest of 2026. I have made 2 very large purchases this year. One is significantly larger than maybe the other one, but I kind of need to save money at this point for big things, which I'm going to have to really pull back on how many figures I buy, which, oof, that's gonna be tough for me. But anime conventions are so fun. I miss them. Birthday month members here. Oh my god, look at all you people. Celebrate the May people. We got May's in chat. May 30th, almost right at the end. Oh, let's go. You're so close to me. Right next to me in June 1st. Birthday neighbors. I guess that means you're also a Gemini. Excellent choice, even though you don't choose when you're born. But if you chose Gemini, and that one's the best. Let's be so for real. Da, 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 da. You're using Adobe Photoshop and then After Effects. Yes, I'm using Photoshop for now, and then I'm going to switch to After Effects to do it, which I only have 2 GIFs on the docket, but I think I'm going to finish these fast, so I might throw in a 3rd one. I think the next one's more complex than this one. This one's pretty simple. It's just Pochitan. Did I mess up? No, I didn't. Well, is that this? 1, 2, 2. Okay, so yeah, that does that 3 times. Boop. Yoink. What shall I name this? Pochi. Oop, Pochi clap. Set that on my desktop. Okay. Hope the event goes well. I hope the convention is tons of fun. Empire State Building was opened in May 1st, 1931. Can you believe, dude, it's that old. Yo, I'm feeling New York right now because I just watched the Prada, not the Prada, the Devil Wears Prada, and it's really interesting watching these movies as somebody who I was not born in New York City, but I now lived in New York City for an extended period of time, and it's very interesting to watch the movie and be like, I know where they are. I'm like, I know where they are. The location's very obvious. Like when going between Brooklyn and New York and like looking at the Brooklyn Bridge and everything, I'm like, I know what that is. I know where that is. I've been on that subway 1,001 times. I got very nerdy about that. But shout out to the Empire State Building. For the past few years of going to that particular convention, I was able to find Precure merch. Dude, the conventions on the East Coast here in America, there has always been at least one vendor who has tokusatsu and Precure stuff. Shout out to that person. Like, I think I found, what's it called? Is it the candle in, yeah, Smile Precure? I saw that, like, 2 years ago, and I was like, dang, somebody's carrying a, like, unopened candle from Smile. I forget the full title. But it was quite impressive. For the past few years, I did read that. Today's episode was good. Answer Sword was amazing. I'm so happy. If you have not seen my review yet, just a small spoiler. I like the sword. The sword sparks a little bit of joy. I was quite happy with how they handled that. The animation was stellar. The sword's design's fantastic. It's like all the things I want wrapped into one. In July, the DinoCon will come to the UK, but I won't be able to go. Still looking forward to the results and photos. Dude, DinoCon sounds rad as hell. That sounds awesome. I got a little soft spot for dinos. I wonder is it like more like paleontologist based, like a little more realism, or is it kind of like more Jurassic Parky, or is it like a merge of both? I'm curious what DinoCon is like. Or is it straight up just everybody wears dinosaur suits? What does one expect at a DinoCon? Either way, dinosaurs are real fun. I'm going to tell you a secret. I did some compositing in Fate Strange Fake. I used After Effects for the first time and I was able to finish mini cuts in a short time. Let's go. I am curious what the official production is for it because I know some studios will have their own like alternative version of After Effects. But I know like KyoAni uses After Effects for their post-production stuff because they did a whole specifically for free. Whatever the last thing they did for free was, they did a post-production post-mortem of doing like water caustics and everything in Photoshop, or not Photoshop, in After Effects, and I thought that was super cool. Sorry, nerding out real quick about applications. I am genuinely curious about the official, like, how studios handle official animation production. I find it kind of fun and nerdy. But Fate Strange Fake was so good. It's very impressive to have worked on that. Congratulations. Hi, we're back to gifts. Yeah, we're doing a little gifts today. Welcome in. Welcome in, Poos, and welcome in. Hey, Aniki, how are you today? NYC is very obvious indeed in films and series. It is. It's such a cornerstone to it. But, like, you really just spend, like, 5 minutes in New York and you're like, oh, wait, I see all the things. Like, there were multiple times where there were certain buildings that have significance to me in New York. And I was like, can I see them from this shot? Can I see that rooftop I like a lot in a shot? I'm very, very curious. And so I got pretty nerdy there. I was like, can I see my old apartment? Like, how many shots are they gonna do? I'm kind of jealous of people who like cons because it's so loud and overwhelming for me. I have to wear headphones or I get really agitated. Now, that's so valid. I do like the smaller cons, like usually ones that don't have more than like 5,000 attendees because it's a little bit more chill. You can walk through the artist alley without touching anybody. You can T-pose in the artist alley and not like annihilate 50 human beings. I went to an arts festival this past yesterday and I was like, people do not know how to walk. I like actually had con envy for a second because I was like, conventions, people know how to walk. People understand how to get out of the way at conventions a little bit better, but God, lots of people were being very rude with how they were walking around there, and I was like, I want to go to the next booth, and you are just stopped in the middle of the walkway for no reason. Okay, I'm trying to open this file, and it's choosing to fight me as I try to open it. This is the problem. This is the problem with not the hotkeys working the same as on a Mac. It's my downloads folder. Open it. There we go. Okay, this is the other one we're doing, which has significantly more frames, so maybe it will overcompensate. But I think she's not the same the entire time. I think she kind of stays still. Yeah, I think a lot of them I can delete at the end. I'll go through that. Let me catch up on chat. I haven't watched the new episode yet, but I've seen some scenes. I watch the episode when I can. It's good. It's a good episode. There's not too much spoilery stuff, so it's just a good fun episode. I also found some Precure cosplays there too. Oh, that's so great. So great to find some Precure cosplay in the wild. Can't wait for the next episode because I saw the preview at least. Yeah, the next episode looks like we're getting back to like some Luluka stuff, which is very exciting. For all the Luluka stands out there, myself included. Okay, so she stays like this for this mini frame. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Da, 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 da. All right, she ends on 49, so I'll just drag that out so I don't have to do the mask 1,000 times. All right, 49, that means I need to delete layers 50 through 61. See, guys, we eliminated 11 times I had to do masking. Let's see what else. It is a waste of a sword, when they use their wrong wands. Cough, cough, yes, 5, go, go. Get 'em right by. Also, if I've not said hello to you, welcome in. I think the only Precure stuff I have found is a Cure Butterfly sticker, but it wasn't official. I found a random K-pop anime. Yeah, you have to really dig. But any of the stands that have kind of like they have retro merch, sometimes they tend to have a little few Precure nuggets in there. Because a lot of the Precure like toys that didn't sell particularly well or had really high volumes of production will what's the word for it? They'll typically have overstock in department stores and have them in secondhand stores, and a lot of people will just buy them for super duper cheap and resell them for more in America or across the world, whoever the vendors are. Let's see. Oh no, DinoCon is a serious paleo business, and Dr. Darren Naish, the consultant of Prehistoric Planet series and the great paleontologist, is one of the founders. Oh, so it's so super legit. That's really fun. That's super duper cool. I love that. I'm pretty sure I found the butterfly sticker one day before You and Idol premiered last year. I think people, they get very attached to some designs, and they'll have a lot of them. Also, if you're fortunate enough to go over to any of the European conventions, you'll find Akuo, who has a lot of, like, he does a lot of Precure keychains and stickers and stuff, of which I am very fond of. One of my favorite artists. I'm hoping we get him over in America. I think he got into Anime Expo one year, but I don't think he's been able to get an East Coast con just because things have been crazy. But I also think he was like, I'll take a break from going to America until America can figure itself out. And I think that's very valid because America does need to figure itself out. It does need to happen. Too sweet. Let's see. I think I scrolled up too much. Now I gotta read the chat. That reminds me, Sir David Edinburgh will complete 100 years. Oh my goodness. Long live! Long live, sir! That is impressive. I love NYC. There are a lot of skyscrapers there, and I'm a nerd for skyscrapers in New York. There sure do be a lot of skyscrapers, and there sure be do a lot of wind tunnels. Man, when it gets windy in New York, I'm too tiny. I do not weigh enough to keep myself on the ground. If it blows, I've literally been lifted up in the air and yeeted across the sidewalk before. The wind is so bad in New York on a windy day. I literally have to like cling to the side of a building to just not like it's like when you're in an ice skating rink and you can't ice skate, aka me, you have to literally go to the side and hold the side. That's me walking to work on a blustery day. All right, I think the only thing that changes for a lot of these frames are her eyes, so I'm just gonna copy and paste the mask a couple of times. Boink. Boink. I've been to New York City twice so far, 1994 and 2006. Lots of cool. I want to visit NYC again and also visit the Natural History Museum. The museums in New York go very hard. I have my, one of the families that I stayed with, that's a family, like, family we've known forever. I stayed at their place a lot when I was little, and they're very aggressive museum people, and they've got like a membership at every museum, so I just will take their passes and I'll go around to the museums for free. They're so fun. They're a lot of fun. I think the last one I've been to most recently is Momi, which was very interesting because I have like such hot opinions when it comes to modern art. But it was very delightful, and it's like I will say the setup and the walk around is quite nice. New York is very clever, but you also sit there because if you live in New York or spend a lot of time in New York, you're like there is no space for anything. So the fact that the museums are as big as they are, given how tiny and cramped New York is, it's always impressive. The architecture kind of pops off. Do 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 do. I've only been to Chinatown and NYC. Yo, shout out to Chinatown, despite living in New England, but the noodles are really good there. Chinatown's super cool. Underrated part of like a whole of lower New York is great, or I guess downtown. I'm a big fan of Phi Dai and I like Phi Dai a lot. I think it's probably my favorite area in Manhattan. I've never been to Uptown much. Like I've never really gone above Central Park, if I'm being completely honest. But I've spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of time in Midtown, and I spent a lot of time in Phi Dai. Uh, I still even hate how overwhelming the convention got too, especially when I got anxiety in places. Dude, I definitely am somebody who will like dive in. I'm like, we're gonna deal with one of the halls, like whether we're going to like the gaming hall or go into dealer's room or artist alley. I like mentally prepare myself. We do an hour in there and then I'm like, that's good. And then I leave and I go sit on the outside area and I like time to refresh. Especially because the one convention I've been doing the most consistently for the past few years has been since it reopened, I've been to Anime NYC every single time, and that convention is bigger every single year. Because I think the first year I went, I was really funny too. After my first job interview in New York, I realized there was a convention, and then I walked over to Anime NYC, and God, that was. I'm gonna. Ah, it's almost 10 years ago! But Anime NYC was so tiny then. It was well not it wasn't super tiny, but it was itty bitty. I could walk up and just be like, I would like a ticket, please, and they would just be like, here's ticket, and then I would go in. I was crazy. But yeah, I definitely love. I spend more time in the hall outside of everything and just sit on the floor until I run into people I know, and then I talk to them, and then I go back to sitting on the floor. I'm like, my butt will sit on this floor. People will be like, oh, it's dirty, and I'm like, listen, everything in New York is dirty. I will be sitting on this floor and increasing my immune system. It will be leveled up. I will sit on this floor. I do not stand for long periods of time. It's a quiet gift. Yeah. Kokoro, yeah, we get some Kokoro love. I don't think I've done too many Kokoro ones. Like, I don't think I have any Kyun Kyun stickers done, so I need to give her some love. No, I don't know why I'm trying to copy the mask. It's a different image. Ba, 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 ba. When I went to China last year, there was a couple of pre-cure gachapon in the mall, and I managed to get a Cure Wonderful thing, but it's mostly Toku and gacha stuff. Yeah, magical girl stuff needs more love, but I will say China does have a very growing love for magical girls. Like they've always liked magical girls. They have their own magical girl shows, but like their love for like Precure and stuff has really increased over the past few years, and they've been doing some exceptional cosplays that I've seen. So shout out to China actually having gachapon. Oh, I will say at the artist thing I went to yesterday, they had gachapon machines for like really generic stuff. And I was like, oh my god, gachapon is getting really popular. If it's I'm in my like middle of the nowhere location, we were able to get some gachapon. Are we talking about history? We are talking about way too many things. We're talking about New York, we're talking about conventions, and then we mentioned DinoCon. We talking about a lot of stuff. Oh my god, I've been to Chinatown in Chicago. It's really nice. Dude, there's like a weird part of me that whenever I find out that there's places in multiple countries or multiple cities and stuff, I'm like, dude, I want to go. I kind of like want to do an excursion. If I had stupid money and I was bored, I would love to do something where it's like, let's visit every single Chinatown around the world because there's like between like a Disney and a Chinatown, they're everywhere. And I just want to do like, let's have a Chinatown excursion. Let's go to every singular Chinatown to see what they're all like. I love Chinatowns. They're so pretty. And they just got such great community. I know the feeling. I'm 1.7 meters tall, and I think yet in Chicago, the windy city on vacation, there was a powerful wind blowing. It pushed me real hard, and I fell. I was surprised. The wind in skyscraper cities doesn't play. You will get yeeted. You will be yote. Da, 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 da. I love museums, especially when we talk about history. History nerd. Let's go, history nerd. Woo! I once had the childhood desire to spend New Year's in Times Square. Oh my god, now I prefer tranquility. Oh my god, I have a couple of New York Times Square stories. For people who do not know, like, obviously media and stuff is like, oh my god, it's Times Square, New Year's, it's a big deal, there's all these crowds and people are there. It is a fate worse than death to try to do Times Square at New Year's. I cannot overstate that enough. I cannot overstate that enough. It's like people literally line up like a day before. You stand there to get the front row area like 24 hours before. I think there's a limit for how early you can show up. And then you have to wear diapers because you can't move. You can't lose your spot. You can't go to the porta potty or anything, which I think they stopped having porta potties at something to try to like deter people from going. People just wear diapers. The streets are nasty. Like, my job, it's funny. Every New York job I've had is like, hey, work does not exist between Christmas and like the 5th of January. Because they're like, do not go to the nuclear wasteland that is Times Square anywhere near that time. They're like, you don't even want to touch Manhattan that. To be fair though, I'm trying to think, have I spent time? Yeah, I've spent time in Manhattan between the 25th and the 5th. But most of the time I would just go back home. It's very, very chaotic to do New Year's. It's not worth it. The romanticization is very powerful in all the movies because it is a war zone to be there. And people are mean and everybody's cold and grumpy, which the cold is enough to deter me. They need to rebrand New Year's into the middle of summer and maybe we can talk. Computer, do not yell at me. But New Year's is a whole thing. Oh my god. I didn't think I've been to Chinatown in Chicago, and I've been so many times. Oh, it sounds so fun. I've got a friend who did college in Chicago, so I'll have to ask her how much time she spent in Chinatown. Uh, if you live in the USA and have the NBC channel, a new Paleo series will arrive. I do not, I unfortunately, I do not have cable. I do not pay for cable. But that is interesting. I wonder if it will go on any streaming service. It's called Surviving Earth, 8 episodes, hour long, dude. I bet the cinematography is fantastic for that. It's one from the creators of the original BBC Walking with Dinosaurs from 1999. Oh, yay! Shout out to them coming back. Looking forward to it. Trailer's been released this week. Ooh, that is actually pretty exciting. I wish that the US East Coast had a high-speed rail. You and me both. You and me both. Every time they're like, we're gonna get a bullet train like Japan, I'm like, oh. And then freaking West Virginia's like, but what about our coal? What about our West Virginian coal? We need to have diesel trains. And I'm like, I hate the train. I have had to take the train. I take the train a lot to go to New York. And it is a fate worse than death when you are sitting there on the train and you see the cows are walking faster than the train is moving. And you're like, human technology has come much further than this. Human technology is so much better than this. Ugh, but that being said, nothing is better than getting out of Penn Station and Penn Station being connected to every subway under the sun and then you can just get to where. Like, literally, it's getting to the train from my home, like, from either my hometown or from where I'm living now. Getting to the train's a pain. Getting on the train is a pain. And then the train going anywhere is a pain because it takes you, like, 50 hours to go, like, 1 mile. But then you get into New York and Penn Station's fantastic. I love Penn Station with every fiber of my being. It's so convenient. And I get to where I need to. But also, you have to be aggressive. Like, I'm glad I spent a good amount of my adulthood in New York because I had to learn how to be aggressive. And I was not aggressive. I was very, very shy when I was younger. But man, when I get off the train in New York, it's go time. I lock in. I'll be like, we're going here. We need to get to this turnstile. You gotta slide your bag under here because it's very hard to get bags under turnstiles, or you have to pick it up. Or there's other methods you can use that I probably shouldn't say on a stream. That's public. But there's plenty of methods you can do, and getting around is so much fun. But you gotta lock in. You gotta lock in, and you gotta skip the BS, because there's gonna be a lot of crazy stuff going on. There's gonna be a lot of people who don't know what you're doing. You gotta lock in. You gotta lock in when you get out at Penn Station. But then you get to where you need to, and it's very convenient. So taking the train into New York is actually better. Especially don't fly. Don't fly if you don't have to. Flying sucks. Because every airport's an hour away from New York City. It costs $100 to get into the city. Alright, I'm gonna catch up. Scary but impressive, my dad always tries to help me face my fear of heights. That do be tall stuff. It do be tall. I think I got over any fear of heights I had living in New York, because every building I was in was always tall, and we were always on a high floor. One of my friends IRL who likes Precure went to China, Hong Kong, and found Precure merch. She bought me one for me and will bring me whenever we meet. Oh, I love that. That's what my friend currently has merch for me. I think she has some exclusive Pretty Holic merch that took a painful amount of work to get because of the tariffs. And then I think she also has my I have an extra jewel bell for Ripple that I was going to give away when I finally was going to do my pre-orca review, but I can't do that until I get the bell. She has not given it to me yet. Oh my god, my cat has come and she is purring on the mic, so if you guys hear that, it's her. Come here, you. Come here, you wee beans. I gotta go to lunch. See you later. Have a good lunch. Yeah, China, Shanghai, and Hong Kong tend to have a lot of Japanese merch, which makes sense. Also, it sucks to be a museum person when your family does not care. Ooh, I have had that feeling. I've had feelings where I've been, like, the museum person, and then I've been not the museum person. Like, again, the family that I told you about who, let me borrow their passes to get around, museums in New York. It's really bad to go to museums with them because they will spend a minimum of 1 hour on every singular painting, and I'm like, I can't do that. I give a good solid 30 seconds to a minute on a painting unless I really, really like it. But they spend an astronomical amount of time per painting. Like, I think... Which museum was it? One of them... The one museum by Central Park, which name eludes me. We were there... I think we got in at 10 a.m. and we did not leave till 10 p.m. and I was like, that's too much museum for me. That's too much museum. I do think I have too much ADHD to be doing all this. But there's other times where I go to a museum and I like want to look at a painting and people are like, let's keep going. And I was like, don't speed run the museum. Let me appreciate the art. But I have luckily found friends that are worth going to museums. Like, it's interesting, because, like, museums are one of those things where people are like, this is such a good idea to hang out with my friends and go to the museum. Wrong. Incorrect. You need to make sure that you are on the same wavelength as the person you're at the museum. Because if they are going longer than you, or they're going shorter than you, it will ruin your experience. You have to you've got to calibrate with your friends. Because I definitely have friends where I'm like, museums with this person is great. And then I've got friends where I'm like, I will never set foot in a museum with you because it will be a horrible experience. Or I would have to have gone to the museum before, especially if they're a speedrunner. Is New York really like the shows they display in the TV with like crazy people on the train? Yes and no. I think on average people are not crazy. People are just like, they're like moving. People are just like, I want to get to my destination, and it's just crowded. But every once in a while, I'd say like once a week, I'd see somebody who's just doing something weird. But the like range of weird is so large. Because sometimes the weird is just a mariachi band. Or there was always a guy who had a boombox and then started doing flips on the railings. That guy showed up a lot during my time. And I gave him props for being very flexible. But there's some moments where I'm like, it is 8 a.m. I do not want to hear your boombox. But I also just put headphones in and just kind of like zoned out on the subway most of the time. I was fairly lucky. I never had anything really bad happen on the subway. I had some like not great things happen in New York, but I never had something super bad compared to other horror stories I've heard. And then like crazy people never really bothered me on the train. I had more problems on the ferry. I had one guy stalk me on the ferry and that was not particularly fun. But the subway, it's usually just so crowded that not a lot of people can do stuff. Especially if you're going during, like, work hours. It's too crowded for anybody to be weird. You're all just sardined in there, and you all just sardine out. But I did switch to taking the ferry for a period of time because it was more convenient, and then I could just fall asleep on the ferry. But then I had to stop taking the ferry because I got stalked, and I was like, that's not fun. So then I had to go back to the subway. Oh, the pain. The pain of being in New York and being a woman. I used to go to Chicago so many times to visit relatives. Beebens, I am reading the chat, and your big butt is in the way. I used to go to Chicago so many times to visit my relatives for holidays, and in the summer. That sounds fun. I feel like Chicago would be more fun when it's warm, because it is miserable when it's cold. And birthday parties and go to restaurants. Oh, I bet the food in Chicago is fantastic. I feel like big cities usually have really good variety in food. If there's a place I wish Precure come back, there's Italy. Let's go, Italy. They love magical girls there. Because I know people there love it, and it's because... oh my god. Italian songs... or Italian versions of Japanese magical girl songs go so hard. Mermaid Melody is still so up there. I know the Italian songs. Can I sing them well because I can sing in Italian? No. But they're so good. I love subways when I visit a city with them. I agree. I think there's something very relaxing about swapping between the station from station. The subway, you get so used to it. It's so convenient and so nice. And then you then you go back to owning a car, and that's me. I was like, I own a car again. And I'm like, oh, I do like my car. It's interesting. You just kind of, like, get used to one or the other. And so, I think the subway I got used to pretty quickly, and I enjoyed it a lot. I do miss the list of it. Like, having a really late night or being out really, really late and then taking the subway back home, there's something incredibly nostalgic about it. It's one of my favorite sensations. It's just kind of like, you don't fall asleep, or at least I can't fall asleep on the subway. But you just kind of, like, list, because I had a commute, because I lived in one of the far out parts of Brooklyn, which is where most people who move into the city or move to New York typically live. And, oh my god, it would be like an hour and a half ride, and just sitting there just kind of moving with the motion of the car was so nice. As somebody who literally gets motion sick, I never got motion sick on the subway. The subway was probably one of my favorite experiences. Though I will say, as somebody who's lived in multiple places, the DC Metro, I think, is far more scary than the New York one, because it's less people, and the people are way weirder. Like, the DC Metro is significantly cleaner than the subway, I'll put it that way. It's far more efficient, far more reliable, and far cleaner, but the people on the DC subway are so creepy. I would say that the wildness that you think New York has, DC actually is the true owner of the weirdness. Just be careful with people on the DC one. They're suspicious as hell. In Bogota, capital of my country, they're starting to build the first metro line. That's how screwed we are. Yeah, but it means it's gonna, as long as they don't build it cheaply, it's gonna be nice, man. You get it fresh. The New York subway is ancient and dying all the time. I think they took out the L at one point while I was living there, and that was hell. People were like, the L is the lifeblood of Brooklyn transportation, for at least the east side. I'm like, I'm begging you, don't get rid of the L. And that was a bad time. God, that reminded me that there was a museum, in Mass that had an I Spy exhibit, but it had zero public transit going to. Oh, that's miserable. I feel like museums are very cruel when they don't have, like, good transportation or good ways to get into it. Like, I was fighting for my life when I went to Atlanta with a bunch of friends, because I know Atlanta has that super amazing aquarium, but god, it has, because it's downtown, it's got, like, no parking, and so we circled that parking lot for, like, 30 minutes straight, and I'm like, someone will leave and I will take their spot, because I'm not going back out into Atlanta traffic without seeing the whale sharks. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I feel like some museums need to step it up. Like, also, DC is bad about that with their museums, because you can take the metro into DC, but, like, the museums, you have to walk quite a bit of ways, and you do not drive a car there, because there will be nowhere to park. Or you could be like me and my family, where we parked one time, in DC, close to the Pencil, and we thought it was a parking spot, and we came back, and we got a ticket, and we were like, that's just the parking pass. That's just how much it costs to park here. It was, like, the only ticket my grandfather had ever gotten driving, and he's like, But hey, we got to get through because that we did that for the cherry blossoms, which was a lot of fun. The cherry blossoms in DC are very much worth it. I wish people were more respectful though. Tourists are really bad about the cherry blossom trees. You need to not touch them. Do 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 do. I have a quick question. If you see an artist drawing and try to draw like them for practice no tracing, just for your eyes, is that... No, it's not wrong. It's just a master's study. They have a term for it. It's pretty normal if you want to try it out. There's one channel I followed for a while, back when I was in my Genshin phase, where their whole thing was that they would sit there and be like, oh, there's this person, like, this person's really big in the Genshin community, and we're going to try to recreate their art style and break down specifically the techniques that they use. And it's pretty cool. Like, I think, obviously, when you get into art, there's a lot of, like, trepidation around trying not to copy people and trying not to, like, plagiarize. Like, I'll be so for real with you, because this is what you do for master's study if you're going to do, like, trace stuff from... What's his name? I'm going to say Michelangelo, but that's not the one I'm thinking of. Either way, you are supposed to, like, when you literally went to art school, you do, for your own practice, you can just trace stuff. You just will sit there and get master's artwork and just trace it. And try to learn how they handle curvature and stuff. Like, you are free to do whatever the heck you want in the privacy of your own home. It just gets bad when you sit there and you're like, if you trace work and you're like, I did this and I didn't trace and all that, like, that's really the problem. But honestly, in the comfort of your own home and where you're not going to, like, put it out publicly, you can do whatever the heck you want. Like, that's what all the great artists do anyways, is that they just build off of the other people. Da Vinci was the one who I was thinking of. A lot of people, like, we did a whole course where basically the first week of class we just traced Da Vinci stuff. To, like, kind of understand how he did curvature and understand how he did multiple lines and stuff. And then technically speaking, if you work in other industries, like, you get into animation stuff, there is a degree of, like, borderline tracing, because you are just taking the cells from one person and then you're just doing the in-betweeners, and they want you to be on accuracy. And then, as John just said, practice with real life photos. You can also trace real life photos. Again, like, the big thing too, 3D models. So many comic book artists will just take a 3D model, pose it to what they do, and then trace it to get the outline of the body, and then draw on the details within their own art style just to save time. Like, tracing is not inherently evil. It just depends on how you use it, and then obviously, if you're trying to monetize or get clout, you have to, you know, adhere to the rules. But yeah, whatever it takes to get better at art, in your own time, learn. Like, why sit there and not take advantage of the fact that there's people who have found stuff out? Like, I don't know, even, like, for example, tracing backgrounds is a huge thing. Like, just taking a photo of a city and then taking the lines and tracing over the buildings is incredibly common, and it's not seen as, like, an evil thing to do. Like, almost every singular background you see in anime nowadays is either a photo that has been edited, or somebody just took a photo of that scene and then just painted on top of it or traced it. Like, it's better to enhance your skills, but obviously you don't want to profit off of any plagiarism. Anything that kind of goes in towards plagiarism. But yeah, honing your skills in your own time. You gotta do what you gotta do. And then also learn to not, like, start with tracing if you're like, I don't understand how they do this circle. And then you're like, I now know how to do the circle, and you try to, like, go from tracing to just doing it freehand. And pick things up that way. It's one method to train yourself. Listen to the Italian My Little Pony. Ooh. I'm kind of curious how all the My Little, like, because specifically, what is it? Friendship is Magic generation. I'm curious what that opening sounds like in different languages. I used to be so obsessed with listening to music in different languages. Also, by the way, I finished this GIF and I'm trying to come up with another one to do, and I'm trying to find some in the folder, see if there's anything else I have on my drive that's worth going over. But yeah, when I was younger, I was so obsessed with listening to songs, but in multiple languages. I actually made videos that eventually got taken down on one of my first YouTube channels, where I did Let It Go from Frozen, and then I did a compilation of it being multilingual, and believe it or not, I learned the hard way that Disney doesn't like that. I think it was specifically the French version of Let It Go, which is like, it's like Liberté something. I'm trying to remember the full title. But the French one smacked me. Ironically enough, the English one let me go, but the French one was like, you can't do this. And I was like, but why not? I want to share the world, all the different versions of Let It Go in different languages. I took the time to purchase every version on iTunes. But yeah, I love multilingual versions of songs. And then sometimes you get stuff like Naruto, where you get like the German opening for Naruto, and it's just funny. Mermaid Melody's Italian soundtrack is so good. I love some of the songs and I listen to them. They're just like, they go so hard. They're very different from the original, but man, they're so good. I don't live too far away from Chicago, but this weekend has been cold, I imagine. It's still a little chilly. Spring needs to sprung a little bit more. Forget gotcha. Try popular location parking. I know. If you really want to get your gotcha fill, try to park. Ooh, should I do a Luluto Lily gif? I'm trying to think about which ones I've done that are transparent. Would Luluto Lily be fun? I mean, we're doing some pre-cure, but I could mix in Luluto in there. I could also do Witch Hat Atelier, because I think I have that on the docket. And then, I don't know if I have any good Shugo Kara ones. But those have been the series that I've been trying to gif lately. I forget how insanely long Shugo Kara is, so I've not gotten particularly far. Why can I not find my browser? There it is. It was hidden behind my other browser. Alright. I kind of want to do the first scene from Lulu's transformation as a sticker, but I think that might be too hard. I could do the petting Azuki, might be good. Oh, it's so hard to choose. So hard to choose. Anyway, let me catch up on chat for a second. I think a lot of online community, there's a lot of absolute moralism that doesn't really work in reality. I think that is true to a degree, but it also applied when I was a kid and I wasn't on the internet. Like, I remember being little, like, any form of tracing, even using a reference photo was really bad. I don't think it was until college that I was told it was okay to use a reference photo because, like, I would take a picture of something and they're like, you can't do that. Like, I think especially when I was trying to get into backgrounds, I would take pictures of, like, the local garden or something like that, and then I would try to like draw it in like an anime style. And I remember like a kid in class yelling at me being like, you're cheating, you can't do that, you can't sit there and take a picture of that and then draw it. And I was like, why the hell not? It wasn't until college where they're like, use reference photos, don't not use reference photos. Don't try to pretend like you know what something is, because you don't know stuff off the top of your head. You do need to see it in real life. You do need to make a mood board. And so I do think that there is a little bit of like, people are so scared of plagiarism that they will basically constitute things that are not plagiarism as plagiarism without realizing how the world works and how things are handled. Like, I think a lot of people, especially if you look at how manhwa, like, manga does it too, but I think manhwa is more into using a lot of stock stuff. And people are very blown away by how much stock is used. And that, because like all the backgrounds and stuff are always 3D like SketchUp models that are uploaded to a database that anybody can use, which, or like you'll see the same castle in like every single villainous manhwa over and over and over again. Oh, also there are a lot of websites that are really good for posing. I don't remember the name of them because I haven't used them in a hot minute. But there's some websites where you'll do pose practice, like figure studying, where it will basically come up with a random internet image of like a girl sitting in a particular pose, and then you get like, you can decide how long you want it, and it will stay down with that image on the screen for, like, you say, I only want to try to do figure drawing for 30 seconds and see if I can get the gesture of the pose. Or you can have it be like 15 minutes and you try to draw as much as you can. And definitely like reference photos for like poses and positions is very nice, because I think coming up with a pose, unless you really like get one in your brain, is very like, you put your pen to the paper and you're like, I don't know what I want my character to look like. I don't know what sitting is. So reference photos are very, very good. Very core into doing art. I asked because I've seen an artist work and their art is so beautiful. I'm trying to just see their art and try to draw my own character and that stuff. Yeah, that's totally fine. Totally fine to be like, wow, this artist has a super big style. I mean, I'll say it about the character I have on the screen right now for me. It's literally the panty and stocking style. I have a couple of things that I changed, and it's not like I changed them because I was like, I want to be a little bit different. I genuinely changed them because there's stuff about the panty and stocking style that I hate doing. And so I just was like, it's easier for me to draw it this way. Like I've got my banana hands and then I've got my rounded shoulders, but sometimes they're pointed. I do the eyes differently than panty and stocking because I think the eyes in panty and stocking are more square, but I have a bit more of like a triangle shape that I've been doing the eyes. Um, and then I do the different line weights, but they do that too. But I think they do line weights where I think the line's thicker in like joints and corners, and I think I do thinner in joints and corners, and then thicker if it's going convex, and then thinner if it's going concave. I might have just gotten that backwards, but I'm trying my best. But I mean, literally, this is 100% inspired by a actual pre-existing style, and I won't sit here and act like I invented it because I didn't. I was just like, wow, it's really geometric and looks easier to draw than having to do something more complex. So I chose this because it's easier. I think I will switch up doing my style in the near future. Just because I'm like, I've had enough of this. Let me try another style. I'm so bad at establishing my own style, specifically in like my animu drawing. I have my own style when it comes to like my professional graphic design work, but when it comes to stuff, I never settled on a design. Like people are like, you need to come up with your style. Girl, I have not done that. I think there's things that people after a while will be like, she draws this way because this is the way she draws and it makes her comfortable. But in terms of style, I do not have my own. My cat just fall. Why you just fall off the? Why you fall off the shelf? Why are you on that shelf? What are you doing? I don't know if you heard her crash. She is up to no good. Miss Ma'am, you come here and stop being stinky butt. Anyways, I need to catch up on chat and I need to pick a GIF. I am so bad at multitasking. Do. Here, I'll play this GIF. Watch it in slow motion while I try to figure things out. Do. Oh my god, same. Used to be obsessed with listening to multi-language MLP and Disney videos. Yes! Oh my god, Vocaloid covers. Dude. I had such a phase with Vocaloid. I loved Vocaloid covers. Just Be Friends, but a French edition was so good. The French worked really well for that song. Do. One of the jobs I do literally is trace animation. Yeah, I was gonna say, all you do is just trace the other animators, and that's what they want you to do, because they don't want you to be wrong. With high fidelity, but there's a catch. They can be, yeah, partial or complete. It doesn't call over frames, so you have to adapt the rest to the style of the correction. Yeah, I mean, like, in animation, you literally have to basically learn how to copy people, because that's the whole thing, is you don't want it to look different. You don't want to have, and I'm not trying to knock on this series, because I do think the animators put a lot of effort into it, but I do think some of them were very novice when it came out, which is like Steven Universe. Steven Universe had such a bad habit early on in the franchise for being incredibly off-model. And it's like, people literally sat there and would be able to guess which animators worked on what episode without it being disclosed because they could tell the idiosyncrasies of the different artists. And it's like, for animation, you kind of don't want that. You want it to be like, obviously for Precure, if there's a certain scene, they're like, oh, this is very Yoshiyama Yu. But like, for the most part, you usually want it to be kind of seamless and not necessarily tell who's animating what. Or like, you don't want to be like, oh, when Steven's torso is too long, it's this animator. It's like, okay, well, we don't want people to notice that. We would like the character to stay on model. Same, I'm a language nerd too. I love particularly gender of multilingual videos with the lyrics translated. It's so fun. It's so fun, dude. It's kind of addictive. Oh my god, I love people who will sing songs and they're the opposite gender of the singer. And I love it when they keep the lyrics the same. I hate it when they like re-gender it based on their gender. Like if it's a love song about I'm a guy and I love a girl, I'm like, I want the girl to sing it as I'm a girl and I love a girl. Don't change the pronouns, please. I just started Shugokara a few days ago and I'm liking it so far. Oh, you are in for a ride. That's a delightful one. I love Shugokara. It has a very precious spot in my heart. The only reason I started watching Witch Hat is because I saw your video. Oh my god, you're so sweet. So thank you. Oh, I hope you love it. I hope you're in for a good time. Witch Hat's so good. It's so good. I love listening to songs in different languages. In addition to that, I've been developing a fascination for finding what international versions of TV networks are like. Ooh, that's a good one to go down. Welcome in, Mute Princess. If I have not said hello to you, welcome in. The one manhwa that's... the one Crastle, that's in 20 series. They use the same one every time, and it's got weird architecture too that's like not realistic, and it's so funny. Oh my goodness. As in like European and Australian versions of Disney Nick. Dude, I love people who archive like commercials and stuff from the different versions of Disney are so cool. Like one of the things I loved the most that Disney did a little bit when I was a kid, I don't know if they do it now, because I don't have cable, but they used to have like the commercial break would have the Disney International segment where they'll be like, let's go see the hosts of the other Disney channels across the planet. And they're like, here's our leader for like Disney Channel South Africa. And I was like, oh, I love that. And they would sit there because there's one very distinct version of that I remember where they were talking about ice cream around the world and they were going to each of the different Disney things and talking about ice cream in each country. And I remember very distinctly that for Australia, they're like, we have ice lollies. And then they're like, if you get a brain freeze, stick the thumb at the top of it, like the roof of your mouth. And they would specifically say roof instead of roof. And they'd be like, if you do that, you can stop the brain freeze. And that was a lie. I remember that commercial so distinctly, but I was like, girl, it's such a lie. That is not true. You cannot stick the thumb at the roof of your mouth and stop a brain freeze. My brain freeze will continue to plague my brain. I was false advertised. And I remember it so distinctly. But I love those segments. They're so fun. Like, I liked that when Disney tried to do stuff where they're like, you should like other cultures. And I was like, I do like other cultures, Disney. Introduce me to more. Show me more about Disney around the world. I liked stuff like that. I don't know how good they are about doing that nowadays, but it was one of my favorite things that they did. I know what we're talking about out of Mermaid Melody. Guys, go listen to the Mermaid Melody songs in Greek. Ooh, I think someone mentioned that they unearthed, like, the Greek dub of Mermaid Melody recently. I didn't realize they had Greek songs. That's pretty cool. To get your own style, simply find what you hate and just keep making workarounds so you don't have to do it. Exactly, you understand. You just sit there and you're like, wow, I really hate drawing a circle like this. I'm gonna do it in my own way. And then that's your style. Your style is your own version of laziness. Like, I give it to people who have really cool, distinct art styles. But mine is just like, wow, I hate drawing like this. I'll draw it another way. Alright. I'm gonna try this GIF. I'll see how hard this GIF is to do. It might be too many frames. No, no! I don't know what I clicked, but that's not what I want. Don't open that. Go away, Creative Cloud. Shoot. No one wants the cloud to be that creative. Alright, I got one of Ran from Shugokara. From one of the early episodes. Let's see. Make sure I've caught up. And people do these like, oh, I love in these styles challenges. I love it when it's like the 2x6 grid and they're like, you have to do it in like Barbie style. You have to do it in MLP style. You have to do it in like Arina Tanamura style. It's so, I love that stuff so much. Welcome in, Tunes and Fun. How are you today? Good to see you. Are you implying that Steven Universe ever stopped being off model? You make a strong argument there, I won't lie. You make a strong point. And I can neither confirm nor deny that. Oh, this one's definitely going to be a lot longer. This is how many frames? Oh, Jesus Christ, this one's 86. Alright, well. This should take up the good rest of the hour. Off we go with Ran. Nope. Yes, there we go. Okay. I've been lucky. These have been very easy to do. I've not had to do a lot of cleanup. This one's going to need cleanup. I don't know. I hope I do a good job with the cleanup. Ah, that's not terrible. I'm not gonna bother, though, adding a shift edge for this one. I'm just gonna do one. That's good. This will be good enough. Unfortunately, so low quality. The original was so low quality. Do. Thanks, I've been wanting to watch Yukokara because I looked at the manga for a bit and I love the idea of a story about a girl being yourself. Literally, it's one of my favorite ways that somebody approached the whole topic of be yourself. And I think for me personally growing up, there's so many times where people would just constantly hurl the phrase be yourself at me. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. How am I not being myself? Like, how do I just, what does that even mean? And I feel like maybe the phrase be true to yourself is more accurate, but like, Amu was incredibly relatable because the 3 different versions of herself and later on the 4th version of herself are all of her, and they're just sides that she never properly expressed. But there's not like one true answer to be yourself, and I think that's what I really loved about Shugokara was that a series actually addressed that and it made sense because girl, it was very confusing to little me. I was like, what do you mean I'm not being myself? Who the heck am I? But yeah. As a fun fact from Disney Channel, Demi Lovato's Disney voice in Latin America was the same as Princess Bubblegum and Harley Quinn. Oh my god. That's pretty neat. I love how much crossover ones. That's like the time I'm trying to remember who it was. There was one character for a dub in Brazil that Leo mentioned, and he's like, "Oh, the voice actress who did this is the person who voice acts Ariana Grande," and I thought that was so funny. It's so interesting to see who gets the voices and who gets the crossovers. There are some funny stuff with the cable TV cartoon channels here in Brazil. Fairly Odd Parents aired on Fox Kids and Disney XD. Only found out that it was a Nickelodeon show. Some of that stuff is very weird. I feel like I've really learned that that was weird way back when Miraculous aired. And like Miraculous aired on Disney everywhere else except for America. And it went to Nick originally. And I was like, but why go? Is Disney not Disney everywhere? And it's like, no, it sure isn't. The second it's in a different country, it's basically a different entity. Where there's some things that the parent company will have, but like America was like, we don't think Miraculous will make money, so Disney America didn't buy it, and so they had to give it to Nickelodeon. And then when the contract re-upped for another season, they were like, we really want Disney to like us. And so they eventually sold to Disney. But it is very, like, I think that's the first time in America I've ever seen a show go from one network to a different one. I didn't know they could do that. Do Oh yeah, I remember that Fairly Odd Parents is only Nicktoon that was distributed at least for some early season by a different company internationally, which is so interesting. And it's so interesting that to a degree other companies will let that happen. Specifically like Fairly Odd Parents being a Nick original IP. I wonder why they didn't just have I guess if countries don't have Nick, that's one thing, but is there like if there's Nick in your country, why would Nick not air Fairly Odd Parents on their Nick? That's so confusing to me. That's so I don't know. I'd kind of get into the weeds about like how that works with those companies. It's been a hot minute since I watched Shugokar. It has been been a minute. It's really popping off in Korea though. Korea loves this show, man. Oh, I also did. It will come out this week. Hopefully. I've got a lot of backlog of Madoka figures to go through, but I did get my Kotobuki Amu figure, which I need to unbox at some point. And so you will see an Amu potentially this week. If things if things don't get too dramatic this week for me, you will be seeing that from me. I might actually do it today, you know, I could just unbox it today. The story of Shugokara kind of reminds me of Precure. Lots of similarities. Jesus Answers hair is so hard to draw. I've only done it once and it's unusual angle. Yeah, the problem is because it twists around and then makes a heart, but it's not going to do that at every angle. It really only looks best when you look at it from the front view, but the second you get to like side views and stuff, you're like, and how does that work though? It's super, it would be super weird sideways, which I think, I'm trying to remember if in the concept art they cheat and just have her hair sideways, like they have the hearts turn as well when she's sideways, because some people will cheat like that when they have like shaped hair. I remember that being a thing for me when Hodogaru Sky aired, because I was like, I don't understand if they're like before it aired, they have the Wingu things on their headpiece, and I was like, is that like squishy? Is that like a little cloud on their head, or is it a flat piece of cardboard? And honestly, it is just a flat piece of cardboard. It is very flat, which I thought was kind of lame. I was like, nah, make that a cloud. I was so nitpicky about that with that design. I don't remember how Shugokara ended. I think I dropped on the season that the episodes had the live action segments. It does get to a point where the final season for the anime of Shugokara focuses on a new main character, and a lot of people didn't like that. They also got rid of one of the love interests for the vast majority of the season. They pulled a Sailor Moon to a degree, but even kind of worse than the Sailor Stars arc did, where they're just like, it's kind of a different show, but not really. Um, so it ended that way. A lot of people skipped the last season of Shugokara. And then the manga is not over. The manga has picked itself back up, because the manga was original Shugokara, I think Encore, which was just a very short epilogue for each of the like groupings of characters. And then now they have Jewel Joker, which I need to catch up on reading Jewel Joker because I actually own the physical volume now and I can read it. I don't know what Jewel Joker is going to entail for that series. I don't know if Peach Pit still has it in them. We'll see. I'll have to read it. Oh, also this week, I've made a decision for myself. Like, I do like Witch Hat, and I like a lot of series that have that kind of style. So I finally got back into watching season 2 of Freerun. I watched season 1, but I think I made a very wise decision in making that a bingeable thing. I think I would hate watching Freerun week to week. I think it's much better to let that show cook and then just watch it in one sitting. And season 2 was really good because I feel like I did not hear anybody talk about the latter half of season 2. I heard a lot of people talk about Freerun when it started, but season 2 it kind of tapered off. I was like, oh, was season 2 like not good or what happened? And it has a much softer ending. They definitely are setting it up. Like, I don't know if the next thing for Freerun is going to be another season or if the next thing is going to be a movie. But I get why people didn't talk about it as much. Not that it was bad, but I think the most important thing that happened in Freerun, like the most epic thing, was middle of the season. And the way that season 1, I think, ended on a pretty epic arc. It ended on a very soft note for season 2. But it was really good. I liked I think I liked season 2 of Freerun like a tad bit better than season 1. I think it fixed a lot of stuff that I was not as big a fan of. I also really like the writing in Freerun, where the author is just really good at writing, like, time and time again, situations where there's like a lesson to be learned every episode, where it's like, why did these characters in the past behave this way? What was this action? And then Freerun's like, well, let me tell you a story. And then you learn, like, oh, that's why that character did that thing. But it's compelling, like, every singular time. And I like that so much. I like that every single time Freerun's like, let me tell you a story about what we did in the original guild. And every time I'm like, that's pretty good. That was a compelling argument you've made there. Especially because every time it's like, I don't understand why a character behaved that way. That doesn't make a lot of sense. And then every time I'm like, JK, it did make sense. You have convinced me. I really, really like the writing for it. And the fact that the author can do it over and over again. It's kind of like how the Detective Conan author is somehow manages to sit there and write this 3-man mystery 5,000 times in a row. And you're like, still good. Still compelling. Still compelling after, like, what? How long is Conan going on for? Like, 30 years? 30, 40 years. Dude, I didn't even know there was a manga. I thought it was anime original. I think the anime got farther than the manga did, and so I think that's why the anime does something different than the manga does by the end of it. But yes, Peach Pit did the manga first. Peach Pit is responsible for Rosen Maiden and Shugokara, and I don't know anything else they've done off the top of my head. But they've had 2 really big powerhouse series that were very popular in the 2000s. Is this basically the same? No, it's different. Redo it. Doot. 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 I bet when Miraculous Season 6 is in my country will air, they will freaking remove or cut the gay couple scenes. No, because there's some of our Asian countries only know man and that sucks. This season really, I will say, season 6 has had really good queer representation. Like, I have my mixed opinions on Miraculous as a franchise, as somebody who's been here since day 1, or even pre-day 1. But I will say the queer representation in the storyline that they did this, for season 6 was really good. It's gonna be very disheartening to see that censored, but I assume they would just remove maybe the episode altogether. I guess they really have to do some chopping for that. I don't know how they get around it. Can I just say that doing the whole inherently evil species thing is one of the stupider parts of an otherwise good show? Yeah, I don't love how they handle demons in it. I think it's a very weird way. It's a very weird stance to me, where they're like, demons exist and their only motivation in life is to kill humans, and they've garnered more and more skills just so they can kill humans, but they don't kill humans for the sake of survival. They just feel like it. And to me, that's so weird. I hope that by the end of the series, there's some explanation to, like, oh, the demons were created by somebody who, like, had a grudge against humanity, so they, like, bore into an entire species. Because every other species that they fight in the series, like, all the other, like, dragons and, like, drakes and all the different, like, lizardy monsters, they're always, like, a little bit more of, like, this monster's attacking us because it's territorial, or this monster wants to survive, or this monster, like, finds humans to be sustenance. Like, there's actual reasons for it. The demons are just assholes. And it's like, but they don't have to be. The demons are far too smart to just, like, sit there and be like, we're objectively evil. And I'm like, but why? I will say that does bug me. The writing there consistently bugs me. Because the series doesn't set itself up to just have, like, these random demons that are just objectively evil for no reason. It's not the type of series where that makes sense. Like, it works better in a series like Raya, like the Disney movie Raya, where they're like, the Droon is just evil. And it's not like you can negotiate with it. It's just evil, and it will consume everything. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. It works in the logic of the series. And it's bore from, like, the hatred of humans. I'm like, that makes sense. The demons in Free Run, I think, always leave a weird taste in my mouth, because they just don't make a lot of sense. And they just make way too much of a point to be like, the demons don't make any sense. And I'm like, okay, well, you don't have to keep doubling down on that. We get it. I discovered today the ending theme for Wisteria, or Wistoria, Wand and Sword Season 2 is now available in full. You did mention that. I did see that. You might like the cover art. I did see you sent the sword. I only briefly saw that on Twitter. What is that about? I don't think I've heard that series until you mentioned it. I think Freerun was more compelling. Is also Freerun is always characterized as a granny in most of the. It is more like a generational lesson. Yeah, I love the tone. It just feels incredibly refreshing. I like the lessons, and there's always just like this kind of like warm, sweet lesson in every episode. Especially this season, because it starts out with Stark being like, I don't feel like I belong in this team of 2 women and there's just me and I'm incompetent. And Freerun's like, I think you actually want to be here. And I think you do understand that you belong here. Because they did a little bit of that in season 1, but I feel like we kind of got a bookend to his, like, lack of confidence by this season. And it was very cute. I really liked it. And just the soft way of her... Oh, the thing I loved was that she said, it's okay to run away. I think that was my favorite thing, is he's like, I'm a coward and I like to run away. And she's like, yay, running away is like a very normal tactic, my man. You can run away all you want. And I thought that was really cute. I liked that. The tone was really, really nice and compelling. Welcome in, Serena Claire. How are you today? Hey, do you watch much villainous anime? I got a favorite one. I feel like Bakurina and One Final Thing are huge contenders. I think I read them more lately than I have been watching them. Because I've read a couple of them ahead of time, and I think I've also really liked the Korean ones. I've leaned a little bit more to the Korean ones lately. I have seen a good, I've seen all that they have in terms of anime for Hamafuda. But I haven't played the video game, and I haven't read the novels. I do own the novels, and I need to just read them. I'm trying to think of a good season to read them in. One final thing, I have not started that series solely because I don't like the male lead. He makes me so mad. I love the female lead, but he's one of those characters, like, I do not like the dynamic where in the relationship, one person just consistently provokes the other person who is, like, a little bit reactionary. I hate that dynamic with every fiber of my being, and every scene I've seen from One Final Thing is the prince saying something that's, like, an asshole thing to say, and then she's like, cool, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you now, and I'm like, oh, I'll beat the crap out of him, he sucks, don't fall in love with him, he sucks, why is he the love interest? It's like me being the pettiest person. I know people love that ship dynamic. They love that ship dynamic so much. And I'm like, ooh, it makes me mad. And I'm like, I can't watch that. It looks good. I won't lie. It looks good. The protagonist looks fantastic in that. But the prince is so insufferable. And if I have to deal with him, I might scream. I don't want to punch a hole in my TV. Wait. Give her back. Where'd it go? Come back. You did not mask properly. There we go. Better. I'm pretty good. Hope you all are too. I watched Treasure Planet. Oh my god, yes! Join us in the Treasure Planet fandom. Let's go. Bringing back an oldie but a goldie. Treasure Planet's so good. I'm glad you got to enjoy it. And people referring to the dynamic as banter. I'm like, some banter is nice, but when it's just somebody being like, I'm gonna say something that's gonna ridiculously piss off this character to the point where they want to cause me bodily harm, I'm like, no. No. I like banter where both people can playfully, like, match the energy. Not the, I'm gonna say something that's super insulting, and then you're going to want to hurt me. I'd much rather it be like, I thought you said your favorite color was orange, and they're like, well, maybe it's my favorite color, orange sometimes, but I also like red. That's the kind of banter I'm here for. Where it's like, they match each other's energy. They do not match each other's energy from what I've seen from previews on that one. But that being said, obviously, if you enjoy that, pop off. You know, everybody's got their different ships. I just think I would get triggered. I think I'd get too mad. Oh, also, in terms of shows watching lately, I need to watch the subbed version of Luluto Lily episode 4 to understand what the heck happened that episode. Because I sat there and I watched it and I was like, I think this is getting above my Japanese vocabulary. I kind of need to fully understand what happens. And then episode 5 is coming out soon, so I'm very excited about that. Luluto Lily has been refreshing and cute, and I'm hoping that the two of them will turn into a team sooner than later. But it feels like it's going that way. Oh, and then I need to think about it. I've gotten a couple of recommendations for shows this season, but I've been good about, no, I take that back. I was about to lie. I was about to tell you that I've been pretty good about staying on top of the shows I thought I was going to watch. I have not kept up with Nakamura, and I think there is a new needy streamer overdose episode I have not seen yet. I just need to sit down and watch Nakamura, but I think Nakamura is another one and I'm gonna want to let it cook and then binge it. I think it also, yeah, it has a good dub, so I'm probably gonna watch the dub for that, since it's more of a, like, dialogue heavy series. Do you think double agent Luluka is becoming more likely after her efforts to get the envelope? I do. I personally do. I think she, obviously, if anything, that I did draw from that is going to be that she doesn't want them to know what her name is, if we're going off of what just happened. But, I'm very confident that she's a double agent. And then she's like, I'm trying to sit here and get the gem from the inside, but then these girls are sitting here being precure and causing me problems! So, I am interested to see how it plays out. Though I do see a lot of people also having good arguments for the other side, which is that, that Luluka is brainwashed and she's been lied to. Though to be fair, the voice actress said for Luluka, whatever's going on with Luluka is a sad TM backstory, and I'm very interested to see how sad TM it is. She was like, I feel really bad for Luluka, and I'm like, what happened? What happened to Luluka? You can't just say that and make us wait half a year for answers. Oh my goodness. Oh, the bar is getting in the way. Let me hit okay. There we go. Right, let's see how that looks so far. Oh, this is a long one. Yeah, this will definitely be sped up. Okay, my cat, you love, my love, my love. You keep hopping on the keyboard, and I need you to not be on the keyboard. You need to not be on the keyboard. Oh, you're so stinky butt. You're so stinky butt beans. Get out of here. Get out of here, kitty. She gave me head buddies. I give you head buddies. You're so cute. You're so cute. Same, I hate the unnecessary conflict. Match the drama or resolve the issue. Literally, that's me. That's me and my picky shipping where I'm like, if you can't understand when you guys are joking, then you don't belong together. So I'm so picky. I'm so picky with romance. I need to be less picky. I think I found a series on Disney Channel that had the different countries. It's called Pass the Plate. Yes! Yes, I remember. I remember Pass the Plate. I love that one. Oh my god. That's a blast from the past. Pass the Plate was great because it talked about all the different foods from across the world. I assume that must have been what the ice cream segment was from. Pass the Plate was a good time. Oh my god. I miss it. Do they still do that? Somebody tell me that Disney still does stuff like that. That was peak Disney. Luluka is trying to bankrupt them by buying $90 worth of ice cream every day. I do wonder if she has that on their tab. I wonder who is forking over the money for it. To be fair, though, they're Phantom Thieves and they probably just stole the ice cream. Which, you know, there has got to be one sad... What do you even call them? Like, ice cream parlor hanging around Yokohama being like, this girl keeps stealing all our product! My cabbages! Who do you think is most likely a Claire? If I already asked in the past, has the episode changed much? No, I think it's still, just because the voice actress stuff, I think it's still basically Kudea. I think it's gonna take a miracle for it to not be Kudea. So, I just kind of locked her in. I'm trying to, like, not get excited about other characters because I want it to be Rei. I think Rei from the beginning was my number one, and she has still stayed my number one. And I'm like, no, I can't sit here and keep wanting it to be Rei because it's not going to be her. So I'm trying to resign myself to it being Kadea. And, you know, best case scenario, it does somehow magically be Rei. And I'm like, yay! But I'm like, let my expectations be that's going to be Kadea. And that way, you know, if it ends up being better, it is. Otherwise, it just meets expectations. I found it funny that in the episode how Arcana Shadow went to so much trouble to only to find out what was in the envelope. I imagine Rudico saying something like, damn it. It's so funny that it ended up playing out the way that it did, because I was really mad that she got the letter in the end. But then it was like, the invoice for Candy was so funny. That's like probably one of the funniest bits I've ever seen the series do in my life. Shout out to Jet. Jet's actually, you know, I was like really mad at Jet early in the episode, but I was like, nah, Jet, actually you're a hero. You're a hero for having a sweet tooth problem and probably need to attend to the dentist. Girl, I have read Nakamura-kun manga in full, but haven't seen the anime till now. It's crazy thing is I've probably seen and sung the opening 20 plus times. This coming week I will start and complete it. I couldn't find all of the manga. Unfortunately, only like the first 2 volumes, so I've seen very little of it. The only thing I don't like about Nakamura, which I think is one of those, like, you just have to, like, resign yourself to being that this is how the series is that from what I read with Nakamura, it doesn't come off as a series where the characters will get together. It's just going to be perpetually about a guy who's in love with another guy and then they don't get together. And it's more about, like, the ride than it is about this actually blooming into a relationship. Could be different. You know, the manga actually could have gone in a different direction, but under my impression, that's what the series does. And I'm like, I just have to make peace with that's what the series does and not expect any more than that. Which, to be fair, I think resigning myself to that makes it easier, because I've had that problem with other series. Like, the author who does Nozaki-kun for both series that she did, the characters, like, never get together. And it's, I went into that hoping that they would eventually get together, and there is zero progress. And I'm like, I need to not be upset about this. I need to realize that this series is not trying to have a romance, and it's just trying to have a comedy. They just need to take the romantic part out of the term romantic comedy. But I think going into this one and being like, they're not going to get together, it's been easier to enjoy it. Otherwise, I'm like, I'd be real good if there was any progress, and then, like, this is not the series where there will be progress. Welcome back, Marcos! Apparently they stopped it in 2014. Bring back Pass the Plate! It was the best thing that they ever established. Did they run out of food? What happened? I've been watching more Precure recently because of Star Detective. Oh! I finished Delicious Party Precure yesterday, and I have to say, while I didn't really suffer to go through it, it was something. Or should I say, it was a season that happened. That's pretty par for the course. But on the bright side, there are so many Precure that do so many different things. I shouldn't be surprised if Luluka is using her disguises to get free samples of ice cream every day, since she's never seems to have the same flavor repeated on a cone. That's ingenious. That's probably how she's doing it. Smile Precure Candy is the same voice as Pikachu and Chopper from One Piece, and I agree, Candy is fun and kawaii. That's cute. Jet is a fairy. His teeth is probably magical. You make a strong argument. You make a really good argument there. I recently learned that some people will bet on anything, and I wonder if anyone's bet on which of the 4 candidates turn out to be correct. Oh my god, does Japan have betting websites? I know that there's been a couple of betting websites that I'm not going to promote because I don't promote betting in America that have kind of popped off. I wonder if Japan has the same thing and people will actually take lots on who will be good at. Or Eclair. Oh my gosh, I can't bet on that. I'll likely lose at the end. Mood. I'd rather think than say who are the candidates in my mind. That's so valid. I'll be honest, I forgot Nozuki was a romance. That's the better way to do it. Oh, no. No, it's actually making it hard for me. Go away. I actually have to do editing. Oh, this stupid hair clip is going to cause me great trauma while I'm doing this. Also, I think I should probably zoom in for you guys. I don't have to be that zoomed out. I should have been zoomed in the whole time for you guys. Not me disregarding you all and just being like, you guys are here for the podcast, not for the visuals. Oh my goodness. I already said this, but did you know that the Vocaloid song Magnet got a rearrange? Is that why I've been seeing? Is that why I've been seeing that? I've been seeing a lot of art for Magnet, and I thought it was just the anniversary. If there's a new version, I need to listen to it. I literally cosplayed Magnet when I was a kid. I love that song. I was there in the trenches shipping Miku and Luca back in the day. Yeah, I watched Princess Tropical Rouge and Delicious. Next up, I'm gonna watch Healing Good or Hakuto. I would say hold off on watching Hakuto solely because it's an anniversary season, and you should probably, at the very, very, very least, watch Futariwa before you watch Hakuto. There's a lot of series you probably need to watch before Hakuto to understand some of the crossover episodes with the other seasons, but definitely watch Futariwa before you watch Hakuto. Healing Good, you can watch it anytime. One of my favorite Precure scenes is from Precure 5 when Coco was trying to wake up Nozomi and her mom sees them and Nozomi tries to trick her in some way. Oh my god. Dude, the early 2000s were crazy. Do you call her Puffu, Puff, or Perf? I think I call her Puffu, but I think that's just because the people that I hang out with call her that way. It's funny because recently I had one friend say Luluka, so I've been calling her Luluka, but now he's saying Ruruka, and I was like, sir, you cannot change it. I've already locked in to Luluka. I'm not going to change it. This is going to be... So I have, for my entire life, up until I started talking to some people, have always had it as Riko for Mahotsukai, and they all say Liko, and I'm like, I've got to change my ways. I've got to change my ways now, and I don't know what to do. It's literally the rudest thing that they've ever done to me. So the R's and the L's are... The Japanese language is really the real enemy here. With how popular horse racing is in Japan and gacha of it all, they'll probably do betting sites for anime plot. That's true. Which, speaking of which, I did see, and it kind of made me tear up because I'm a little sensitive Sammy. I don't know what I'm going to say there. I did watch the... What was it? Which part of the Triple Crown? It was the Kentucky Derby. Had happened yesterday night while I was at the movies. And, the trainer, it's like the first female trainer won, her horse won, and there's the clip, there's like so many angles of it too, of seeing her react to the race, and it was so precious seeing her cheer for her horse and then her like have this whole like explosion of emotion when her horse won, and I was like, oh that was so sweet, dude. It was such a cool moment. Like, my mom's really into the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness and the Belmont and all that. She's really into horseback riding stuff because I was a horse girl when I was really little. But my mom was like the person who started the horse girl in me. So every so often, like, she'll talk about horse racing to me, and it's always kind of nice to come back to see stuff like the Derby and it have a bit more of a narrative to it. Though we were watching the pre-show before we went into the movie, and one of the horses got severely injured, and I was like, ooh, that sucks for you, buddy. That's rough. But the horses were very pretty this year, and the flowers were really nice, and I like it. I like a little bit of the energy with the Kentucky Derby. I do think some of the outfits are outlandish, but I do like... What's the name? There's that hat that's not a hat. It has a very specific term, and they'll get really upset when you don't get the term right. I do like the silly hats. You gotta keep the sun off your head somehow. You're gonna get sunburn. We don't want cancer. Yeah, the OG creator came back after 17 years to release a magnet reprise for the anniversary. I love that because we got a couple of reprises from Rio Supercell for his songs when they did the Kaguya movie. So I'm glad to. I don't remember who actually. This is one of those things. When I got into Vocaloid in the beginning, I did not pay attention to the producer, so I actually don't know who the producer is for Magnet. That's how bad it is. I was like Magnet by Miku and Luca. That's what that's set mentally. I think I only knew Supercell because I got really addicted to some of his music. But yeah, if you know who did Magnet, let me know. I should probably know. Fastener! You got it. That's what it is. The silly hat is Fastener. Or It's either Fastener or Fascinator. One of those. That's what it is. And they get really offended when you don't call it that. When I was at the arts thing yesterday, they were selling... One of the booths was selling the hats. And it was really cute. And they were very sassily getting upset that people were calling it hats. As I just did. But they're very pretty, and I like how creative they are. Or is it a visor? No. It's definitely like the little tiny. It's the like headband hats. It's the headband hats, like the one seen in Kira Pre-Cure mode. Oh my god. I'm sure there's someone out there seething that I keep getting this wrong. I see him, I do that then. Yeah. I just, like, I promise you watching Futariwa first and knowing who Cure Black and Cure White are is going to make it a much more valuable experience. Specifically because there's 2 episodes where they appear. Without going into any detail. Okay, guys, it's my sleeping time. Have a good day. Good night. Good night. Enjoy. I hope you have a good evening. Oh my god, I remembered and I checked it out. Now Toyama plays the voice of Pafu and Kira Kanashada. Oh! I feel like someone told me that. I feel like I've got friends who like really tune into voice actors, and I'm almost positive they probably told me that and I forgot. I do like that a lot of the fairies are coming back as like full-time voice actors for Cures. Yeah, Supercell was in a lot of anime and barely and Bravely Second. Oh, that's right. He did the opening for Bravely Second. Bravely Second, I think it's called Distance. That's one of my favorite songs. But Magnet was made by Minato K. Ooh, I will try to remember that. I'll lock in. I promise you I won't, but like, I will try to remember that. Minato K. God, I totally forgot about the Bravely Default franchise. I have such a strong love-hate relationship. I keep doing that wrong. I have such a strong love-hate relationship with that franchise. Oh, I love the music though for I can't remember if it's Distance or Departures, but I think it had a D name for the beginning of that one. And I listened to that one because that's the one where it like goes and then there's like a shatter sound effect right before it starts. It's so good. That one's really good. I don't remember who the singer is for that, but she did a good job. I know he worked with Shelly for a while, but I think Shelly mostly just did like My Dearest and stuff. Yeah, Supercell, like, I am not a big fan of the Monogatari series. I will be so for real with you. However, what was that? Kimi no Shiranai? One of the best songs I've ever heard come from Supercell. Like, that, he did so many good bangers in a row, because he did My Dearest, he did Kimi no Shiranai, he did Hoshiga, and then he did, Sayonara Memories. And all of those from that, I think that was from, I can't remember if that's the Brave album. All of those are instant bangers. They're top tier music. I love all of those songs. I listened to them on repeat when I was in high school. They were absolutely my favorite. And then I really like the game version of Hoshiga, which I think was for one of the Mahotsukai game from the Fate people. Type Zero. Type Moon. Not me combining their games and their company name. But there was like, I forget the full title of it. It's Mahotsukai something. The Meiji series. Hoshiga has a game version versus the original one. Very good music. I'll Kira, their flowers. Their designs are so good. Except for putting girl. Oh, you don't like Kira Custard. Today's a beautiful day. It's an amazing album. Agreed. Agreed. Peak stuff right there. If I remember correctly, Supercell did an entire soundtrack for Bravely Second, and I feel like the first game's OST. I like the first game's OST more. It's more that Bravely Second is electric guitar. I do have a big soft spot, admittedly, for electric guitar. It's why I like the soundtrack by Yasuhara. What's his first name? The guy who did the Precure music for Heartcatch. He did a lot of guitar stuff. Lots of electric guitar, especially Moonlight's theme. The electric guitar goes really, really hard in that one. Very, very good music. But I'm not gonna lie, I think my favorite music from Heartcatch is probably the acoustic stuff. Like the acoustic cover of the theme song they use right after they do the trial and they come out of the statues. That piece right there from the first soundtrack is really good. Love that to bits. Oh, I feel like we lost a real one when Yasuhara stopped doing Precure. He did 3 seasons, because I think he did Smile, Heartcatch, and Sweet, and then he did a couple of the movies. And I was like, bring that man back! He can cook with music. He also did Sailor Moon Crystal. And Sailor Moon Crystal, he also likes to add a lot of choirs. A lot of the choir music. I think he also, I literally knew he did music in Log Horizon solely because I heard a choir in the background and I was like, is this Yasuhara? I was like, I hear a choir, and I'm like, Yasuhara, is that you? Are you a whole choir? Are you a whole church choir in the background? But I'm like, girl, why did they pull him for Log Horizon? Don't be doing Log Horizon. Go back to Precure. Pay him more at Precure. What money does Log Horizon have? Yeah, Bravely Default, who did the Link to Horizon dude, does the Attack on Titan openings. Oh my god, I did not know that. I'm trying to remember the Bravely Default. I remember the cutscene, but I don't know if I remember the music for that one. But I remember it just had good music overall. Speaking of songs, Kimi to Tsunagu from Princess Session Orchestra. Oh my god, yeah. Real. That's a good one. I like the electric guitar too, but I think I liked the fact that each character had their own unique instrument. Oh, that's a good point. I do love it when characters have either like a musical, there's a word for it. This is why I don't know enough music stuff. They have like a little trill that identifies them. I love it when characters either that or they play like an instrument. And you're like, "Oh, you know it's this character because they're playing the flute." They did that in the Okami I'm really going all over the place in IPs here. But Okami always played the flute for Waka, and I really liked that, where you're like, oh, that bitch Waka's here because I hear the flute. Every time. I'm like, that stupid little clown is causing problems because I can hear his flute from a million miles away. So funny. I love that you can be like, oh no, not this character solely because you hear an instrument play. I think it's really funny. I love the OST for. Oh my god, I have something to say about that in a minute. Digimon Adventure 1, Pokemon Kanto and Johto, and One Piece. Dude, I love the Sakura OST, and back to. I really seem to be on a fixation for flutes at the moment. I love the flute in Cardcaptor Sakura, because I was recently watching. I don't know why that's blank. That should have a character on it. I was watching some baking videos from China, and they do these baking vlogs where they'll show you the cake first and then they'll go into how they made the cake, and they always play some Cardcaptor Sakura OST music right before it, but it's so insanely nostalgic because it's got that like little flute that plays, and it's kind of like a lower quality because it's an older like 90s or not 90s when Cardcaptor Sakura was 90s, right? It's got that older, like, quality sound to it, and it's so nostalgic. And they play it at the beginning of every one of their cake vlogs, and I'm like, oh, that takes me back. I feel like I'm entering a time warp, and it's beautiful, and it's pleasant, and there's sakura petals surrounding me. It's so great, especially for spring. In each Precure season, which character is your fave and which is your least fave? Oh man, I'll have to point you in the direction of the tier list for that one because we would be here forever if I had to go through all of them. I do have a tier list where I do go through them. So I might skip that question just for now. The musical motifs. You're so right. Thank you, Serena. You guys are making me fantasize about a separate season of Precure with a soundtrack by Hiroyuki Suwano. Remind me which ones he does. Remind me which one he do. I do not. I know. I'm sitting over here like I know Yasuhara, and that's like the only guy I know. I'm like I know my boy Yasuhara and no one else. But I can kind of identify series. I will say I need to learn the name of the guy who does Witch Hat Atelier because it's the person who does Bloodborne, and I loved Bloodborne. I just don't remember the dude's name, but he can pop off. He's got good music. I'll say that. I love video game soundtracks. Yes, we love video game soundtracks here. I love Shadow of Colossus has a great soundtrack. Kingdom Hearts is incredibly iconic. Pokemon games are great. They get good people for Pokemon, as well as the fact that they do some 8-bit stuff, so it's very very attached. The Legend of Zelda games, also very iconic music. And Super Mario Party 2. That's so specific. I would have to go back and remember what the Super Mario Super Party 2 sounds like. Okami is so good. The OST gameplay, dude, I love Okami. The pacing is bad. The pacing's a little rough. The pacing is all a little rough, I will not lie. But I have such a big, like, as somebody who kind of struggled with some of the Legend of Zelda games as a child, Okami was like basically was the better Legend of Zelda game for me. And I still love Legend of Zelda, but like I think I liked the gameplay a lot more for Okami. And I like the dungeons. Like, I hate Legend of Zelda dungeons. I'm so glad that the newer ones don't have dungeons anymore. But like the dungeons they have in Okami are so much more clever and pretty. Or leitmotif, that's another good one, is a specific term for repeating musical piece associated with a person, place, or idea. Pronounced leitmotifs. Oh, I've seen people say leitmotifs because I think it was French. They're like, you know that T, let's ignore it because we're French and we don't pronounce the last letter of stuff. But leitmotif, if that's supposed to be how it's pronounced. If it's the German version, I guess. The game and soundtrack for Mario Kart Super Circuit Game Boy, that's such a specific one, is among the most nostalgic for my childhood. Glad to hear it tracks. That's a good one. Oh, Sawano did Guilty Crown. Oh my god. And Sao. I'm trying to remember. I don't think I remember the OST for Sao. That's not like the Lisa songs. But I do know the sound design in Sao is really good. Whoever the sound design dude is amazing. But Guilty Crown absolutely has one of the best soundtracks ever. Guilty Crown had no business having music that good for a what would we call it, a mech series. Guilty Crown is such a whatever series, but it was incredibly pretty and the music was really good. I remember that dude that does Dark Souls OST is the same guy who does Tales of... Yeah. I did know that one. I don't know his name though. I love when a composer is so good that you learn their name and recognize them. Yuki Kaji, I do know of, Yuki Kajiura. God, let me get this. This is one of those names I read in my head all the time. I never say it loud. Kajiura. Not to get mixed up with Yuki Kaji. Plan on watching Game of Horse? Absolutely. I have no, like, I was a Game Grumps fan back when I was in high school. I absolutely have known forever that Ross has been trying to get that off the ground and has been working on it diligently and doing streams, so I absolutely will be supporting him. And I also like to support Glitch in general. The Water Temple dungeon is famously the most hated. God, I think the Water Dungeon, like, visually is not bad. I think I like the Water Dungeon more than any of the stupid volcano ones. Anytime where they're like, it's fire, it's the most boring, unoriginal dungeon I've ever seen. Or if it just has stone walls, it's so boring. It's so ugly and boring, and I'm like, this is where people like this stuff solely because they enjoy, which I'm gonna switch to After Effects, just give me a second to put the stuff in here. They solely enjoy the gameplay, and they ignore the fact that the aesthetic is boring as hell. But I also think, right before I played Okami, I think I played Phantom Hourglass, and that game pissed me off so much. Like, that one main temple that you have to go back to 1,000 times was making me so angry. And then I played Okami, and I was like, this is so much better. Like, I love Phantom Hourglass because I like the water. I think the running around on the boat was fantastic. But God, sitting there and having to go back to that stupid-ass temple where you can't attack the enemy made me so mad. I was so angry. Alright, why am I, like, getting confused at what I'm doing? Let's see. Open recent project. Open my GIF editor. Yes. I need to import file. And then we'll do Pochi Clap. And we'll do edible labor styles. And then let me see if I can turn this on. Beavens, I can't see OBS if you stand in front of the OBS monitor. I can't see. My cat's feeling aggressively friendly today. Miss Ma'am. Miss Ma'am, when I catch you, you're gonna get the biggest snuggle. Actually, why is this not? This should be. Oh. No, no, no. I know why this is not working. That's the wrong one. Where's the right one? Where's the right one? Did I delete it? Oh, she's giving me snuggles. Miss Ma'am. There we go. Okay, now we can see it. Miss Ma'am, are you giving me snuggles? Because you want to sit in my lap, but you don't want to sit in my lap because I'm talking. I'm talking too much and you don't like that. You don't like it when I yap, but you want to snuggle. You're like, be quiet, mama. I want to be in your lap. Oh, she give me head buddies. Oh, one day I'll show you guys my kitty. I'll show you my little beavens. Miss me. Alright, here. You can sit in my lap, but you gotta get your butt, because I can't read chat. Your butt is blocking chat. You want to move? Yeah, you want to move. Come here. No. Okay, I have to pick you up. Stop blocking chat. I can't read. I remember playing Mario Kart Super Circuit on my old blue. Oh, dude, I had a blue Game Boy too. Let's go. I had a blue Game Boy Advance. Oh, I love that. I think we had a blue Game Boy. Oh no, we had a purple Advanced, and then I think the SP was the foldable one. I'm joking, but I'll never forgive Toby Fox for teaching people what leitmotif is, because now people are calling it a leitmotif when a lot of them are just composing styles. Fair enough. People get a buzzword and they're like, it's my personality. French language is just keyboard smashing. It so is. Listen, we're gonna get some noblest tea lore here. Me and the French language, like French people and the country of France, whatever, you know, it's a cool place. People do stuff. The French language, we got beef. I beef with the French language. They're like, we don't like the letter H. We don't like the letter at the end of a word. We don't like anything. And I'm like, who made the French language? They're like, we did this because aesthetics. And I was like, it's not that aesthetic. It's just bad. So I have beef with the French language. I had a lot of fun. I'm glad. I think the water dungeon is a lot better on 3DS since you can swap the icon for the iron boots a lot easier. That's true. I do think that really just needs to buff the gameplay so you can just get your feet stomping. Phantom Hourglass is a really annoying game. I feel so much better. Spirit Tracks was more fun. Yeah, it was. I prefer Spirit Tracks over Phantom Hourglass. Yeah, you guys know what's up. Welcome in. Yes, how are you today? Twilight Princess on the Wii was my very first Zelda game and I loved it. I love the aesthetic of Twilight Princess. I do have a soft spot for it. Admittedly. Alright, let's get this. Show on the road. Should make this 2 and then I'll bring it down if I need to. Boop, boop. This one will be fast because it's just a pretty simple... Like, I think I could have done this in less panels because I think it's only a 4-panel loop. But nonetheless, we chop it up. This one is only 20 milliseconds. Let's zoom that out a little bit. Why does one of them have a background? What happened? What are we doing? Why did I have a background? 1, 2, 3, 4. Why do you guys have background? Did I not finish this? Did I not save it? Is that what I did? Going back to Photoshop. Did I not save this? Is that why that's behaving that way? Why are there backgrounds? There we go. I was like, did I just not... Why is it not position? No! Poachy down! Don't float up! Alright, I gotta redo this. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna re-import that one. Remember to save your work, kids, or else you're gonna have to create more effort for yourself. I didn't save it, and so it decided to be weird. Okay. Thankfully, again, this is like 10 frames, so it's not the worst fate. Also, I might go with doing frames. Boop, nope. Boop, nope. Click and drag it. Click and drag it, queen. Click and drag it. Why? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Alright. And then take it down to 10 milliseconds this time. There we go. Clapping Pochiton. We did it, everybody. That's 1 down, 2 to go. Oh, some of them are gonna take forever after this. Catching up, though. I've had it in my mind a climatic sequence from the original Gundam story that has the song Hikari no Yukue by Fiction Junction playing in the background. Ooh, I'll give that a listen. It's been so long since I've heard Gundam music outside of Witch from Mercury. Witch from Mercury also had some pretty good music. Especially the ending song was so good. Both the visuals and the music were really good for that. Cats are so cute even when they're being goobers and annoying. I know, she's being so precious over here. She's sitting on my laptop right now and I kind of need my laptop, but she can sit there because she's cute and watching some birds. Kitty has email she needs to send. She's got assets to manage. It's true, she's working very hard. 9 to 5 to be a cat. Let me catch up on time. Okay. I might do one more GIF and I might save the other one and do that off stream because we got 15 minutes and I don't know how long. It might take me 15 minutes to drag these lines. Okay. Let's see. Which one do I need? I put them on the desktop, did I not? What did I name some of these files? What did I name these files? Kokoro, Excite, and Ran Intro. Oh, where are they? Where did I put them, though? Did I not save these on the desktop? I saved them in the download folder, didn't I? I did, that's why they're not here. Okay. Boink. There we go. I'll do Kokoro. Beavens is making sure you're working as your manager. It's true, she's keeping me in line. Game Boy Advance had great games. I played Jurassic Park 3 DNA, Factor, Mario Kart Super Circuit, Pokemon. Oh, Sapphire and Emerald's my favorites, and others I can't remember. I played Barbie Genie, and it's one of my favorite games of all time. That was such a fun game. I think that was like my first video game I ever played was Barbie Genie. I got it for my fourth Christmas, because I think the Game Boy Advance was in my stocking. And Barbie Genie was really good. I will stay impartial to that. Is there some, like, not great culturism stuff going on there? Absolutely. But was the gameplay not peak? It was peak. Like, Barbie games have really... I'm kind of, like... I feel like I got spoiled as a child. Because Barbie games are really high quality. As a kid, my Barbie games were very high quality for what they were. Nowadays, they're so bad. Like, children's games just have no heart and soul in them. They're just a cash grab, and it makes me really upset because, like, children's games used to be, like, good. It's usually that the plot sucks, but the gameplay's not that bad. Nowadays, it's like, they have plots, but the gameplay's horrific. Like, I really wanted to get the Miraculous games, but god, the gameplay for the Miraculous games that are on, like, the Switch are so bad. It's so bad. The gameplay looks horrendous, and I'm like... I think the plots will be fine, but I think the gameplay is just gonna be unbearable. I found out that French say 91 as 40, 20, 11. I'm sure that dude was doing language. Could have done better. That's what I'd be saying. I think French is a naturally combative. That is the best way I'm stealing that. French is naturally combative is the best way to describe it. The difficult language that raids bait you and the revolutions. Don't get me started about macarons versus macaroons. I try to get that right, because everybody around me will just say macaroon, and I'm like, but this is not the coconut pastry. This is a macaron, where you just have to pretend like the N doesn't exist, kind of. Because we don't pronounce the letters of the last letter of words, because we're the French language. Oh my god, not me crashing out about French. A lot of Romance languages are flowery sounding. I disagree to a little bit on that, because I think Italian and Spanish made a lot more sense. I took more Spanish than I did French, and I think that one makes more sense. And then, I guess, German doesn't count as Does German count as a Romance language? Because the Germanic tribes were separate from early Rome, but I don't know how much of the language adapted it. German, though, is like all logic. German is like, we're gonna combine all the words together to make one mech word. I wonder how long it will take Pochitan to be able to speak complete sentences. At this rate, I feel like we're gonna get it by the halfway point. I feel like Pochitan's about to write her, like, acceptance speech by the time we get Luluka on the team. Alright, I need to turn these on, that's why that's not working. There we go. Okay, that seems like an appropriate speed. 1 to go. 1 to go. Boop-a-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Boop-a-doo-boop-a-doo. Ran. Do-do-do. And I think I saved this one. The last Gundam season I watched was IBO, and it was annoyed by how melodramatic it was. Was that the... Oh man, I thought there was only one after Mercury Witch. Has there been multiple? I just know the one that had the name that no one can pronounce, and it's just a bunch of, like, keyboard smashed letters together. And I've heard, like, different things about it, but I am such a, like, window watcher when it comes to Gundam. I don't know much about it. I watched a lot of it when I was little, but apparently all the Gundam I saw as a child was the bad Gundam. But I liked it. I liked it as a kid. Gundam's music is very good. It's funny if you know the lore of the series the songs belong to. Interesting. I've been wanting to get more into Barbie. I love the aesthetics of Barbie dolls. Barbie's fun. I really like Barbie, and I've been very happy at, like, the resurgence that they've had with Barbie and kind of the reinvigoration of the IP. Mattel, though, I still think I have a lot of beef with. Mattel could be a much better company. But Barbie will always have a very big soft spot in my heart. And Barbie Horseback Riding Adventures is the best game ever. Like, Barbie Genie was good, but Barbie Horseback Riding Adventures, it shaped me as a human being. Not to be confused with Barbie Horseback Adventures, which I think there are multiple games that have, like, similar names. My impression of children's games nowadays is tablet games full of malicious ads. Yeah, it's a lot of, like, the Candy Crush knockoff that, like, Frozen did and whatnot. They're not as good. I really like G-Reco, even if it's objectively bad show. I have no idea which one that is. I'll have to look it up. I wish I remembered my first video game. I think it might have been something lame like Minesweeper or Solitaire. Those are fun, though. I feel like those are absolute classics. Let's not underplay how insane Minesweeper and Solitaire are. I lost many an hour to my childhood on those. You're right, Barbie games of the 90s looked good on PC. My sister played Detective Barbie, The Mystery of the Carnival Caper, and I watched it when we were young kids. It was a really fun game. It was good. I even remember there's a Blue's Clues game where I accidentally scratched the CD, so I never got to see the end of it, which will haunt me until the day I die. But, I remember the Blue's Clues game was really good. It was like a point-and-click adventure, and it was pretty high quality. Like, they really, like, it was a decent point-and-click adventure. And then, oh, don't even get me started about Nancy Drew games, dude. Nancy Drew games are peak gameplay. Those games are also really hard. Even if you go on the slightly easier mode, it's still hard as hell. Like, if you think you're a real gamer, then you need to beat Nancy Drew games. Especially the Japanese one. I don't remember what the one title for that is, but the one where she goes to Japan and you have to do, like, the nonary games. Maybe it's not nonary. It's the one with the wordplay. And then, like, Sudoku, and then there's the one thing where you have to, like, untangle the rope. Those games are hard, dude. Nancy Drew games are hard. I need all the people who are like, I'm really good at COD. I need you to play a Nancy Drew game. And play it on hard mode. And talk to me about playing a game on nightmare mode. You don't know. You don't know how hard games can be. Like, literally, games for girls, honestly, were ironically incredibly difficult sometimes. Another PC game that we loved that was based off a TV series was The Amazing Animals of Harry the Gecko. Loved the game and the TV series. I did watch in Portuguese and some in English. I've never heard of that, but that sounds fun. German is like a meme. There is Flammenwerfer, and it's worse for them. German's so silly. Iron-Blooded Orphans. It's older. Okay, yeah, I was gonna be like, Iron-Blooded Orphans I do know, but I do know that happens before, God, I remember people were talking a lot about Iron-Blooded Orphans when it came out, and that's why I remembered it. But also the name kind of goes hard. The only one after Mercury is GQUX, because I'm not going to pretend like I can pronounce that as of right now. Okay, good. I was like, I think there's just one additional one. I think we've only gone up one since G-Witch ended. Of which I am a big fan of G-Witch. It was totally worth watching a Gundam after so long, and that'd be the first one I came into. I wish the fandom was better, but God, G-Witch is so good. Yeah. Ba 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 ba. Da, 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 da. I hope Pochitan's adult voice is insane, like how Daifuku. Dude, it would be so funny if they had a deep voice for her. Unrelated, I really wish the Style Savvy game on the Switch was good. That's so valid. Excuse me, Barbie Genie is far too casual. Please refer to her as Barbie Genevieve from now. I was gonna say, I know there's a lot of Nintendo games, but I guess those are more family friendly rather than kids games. Yeah, yeah. Like stuff like Mario and like the AAA mainline games are good. It's any of those TV tie-in games are kind of crap now. But even like the Aladdin and the Lion King platformer games were really good platformers for what they were, and they're pretty difficult platformers at that. And nowadays, like, they just make the games so whatever. And it bums me out because I see people like for example, when Monster High was big, there was the Monster High games, and I was like, the Monster High game is terrible. Like, why is this so low quality when you could make a pretty decent game from this? Like, be so for real with me. Da, 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 da. Do, 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 do. Well, I guess it was related because I played the DS Savvy as a kid. My first game was Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Sky. Ooh! Ooh, the Mystery Dungeon games will take your heart and rip them into a million pieces. Every one of the Mystery Dungeon games have made me cry. They're so good. I always love hearing Blue Clues mentioned because I remember the point and click game. It was by a Humongous Entertainment, who was well known at that point for point and click games for young children. That must have been who it was. I only know it was a 2-disc game, and I accidentally destroyed the second disc, so I couldn't finish it. You were like, you played it, and you need to go to like a fantasy world at some point, and so we were about to go into this like fantasy world in the wall, and I was like, I'm so ready to go to this fantasy world, and then it's like, your disc is unreadable, and I was like, I guess I'll never know, and I'm going to die not knowing this knowledge, and it will haunt me forever. And I'll be so upset about it. One day I'll find somebody who has the game or somebody who puts a YouTube tutorial. Do. Nancy Drew is so good, but I tried the last scene and got stuck 6 times. Yeah, Nancy Drew games go hard. No. Yeah, the no games, I was like, is that... No games is not the right word. That's the one with the probability and the death. God, what is it? What's the Japanese thing that's like? Oh my God, that was so loud. What is the name of the Japanese thing that's like? Obviously they have Sudoku, or is it Sudoku? I always get that backwards. There's the one that begins with an M. Nonograms. I think that's what I'm trying to think of. Is the nonogram, and not nonary. Hey, have you been playing the new Tomodachi Life? No, I don't have enough free time. So I've banned myself from purchasing that. I don't have free time to do that. I have way too much going on. But I've enjoyed watching other people play Tomodachi Life. I cannot get addicted to another game right now. I have too much going on in my personal life, and so I will let that sit there. I remembered the deep voice of the cat for Korone in Splash Star Precure. That was unexpected. He's a very good and brave cat too. Aww. Disney NES, SNES games are mostly made by Capcom, so they're really good. Yeah. I wanted to play Tomodachi Life, but I don't play video games that much, and I tend to not buy games that much. I might ask it as a Christmas gift, which is fair. I have to play Pokemon Pearl again. Oh! Dude, I love Gen 4. Gen 4 is a good time. I couldn't get into Mystery Dungeon. I do think the gameplay for Mystery Dungeon, I literally had to fight myself into liking it because I hated it at first. The Mystery Dungeon gameplay is rough, but the story is really, really good. Especially, I love the first one. For for Blue and Red, the plot's so good. And then, actually, I take it back. They're all really good. I really like the 1 and 2 and, the second, what's the second one? Time and Darkness, also super good. Oh my God. games could be so good for children's development. Like those old educational games. Dude, there were so many good point-and-click educational ones. I even like stuff like Zubinis were so good. And like Backyard Baseball and like Freddy the Fish and Putt Putt. Oh, they're so good. I have such core memories of playing those games. Instead of guiding them with a story they watch, they can have some agency and experience it by playing through it. So true. Welcome in FNAF. Unfortunately, I am going to be wrapping up soon, but I do appreciate you hopping in. I like Shadow at the Water's Edge, but everyone in my family is too scared to play it. Or any other Nancy Drew one, like Thornton Hall or Castle Malloy. It's a Nancy Drew game. We gotta not be scared. Be brave. Be brave. It's Nancy Drew. The only Nancy Drew we could be scared of is the Netflix adaptation. Pokemon Platinum's so good. Tomodachi Life is a good game. I have to watch people play it. There are some games that are just not meant to touch. That's so fair. Like, I stopped playing Pokopia because I don't have time, and I feel really bad because I want to play Pokopia, but I'm like, no, personal life make me do things, and I have to be responsible. To be a responsible adult. I feel like the one thing that Precure Season's prediction that nobody probably mentions is the jungle season. Ooh. Ooh, that's a good one. Add that to the board. I love Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Ah, so good. I think that's one of the best remakes in my personal opinion because they combine two regions together, and I think they should just have a master region. Gates to Infinity has really good characters and is easy enough to rush through the dungeons, even if you aren't super good at the games. Fair enough. If you didn't like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon gameplay, never play Shiren the Wanderer, since Mystery Dungeon is kind of a cross of Pokemon franchise and the Shiren gameplay. I did not know that. That's cool. See you, Mojave. Have a good Sunday. Pajama Sam was my favorite point-and-click game. Oh my god, another blast from the past. I used to have a flashlight, cape, lunchbox, and mask and pretended to die with Sam as a kid. It's so good. And I love Freddy Fish, Putt Putt, and Backyard Baseball. Yeah, some classics. Classic games. Oh, that's a good note. That's a good note to hand off of. We got 3 gifts done today. I feel like that's fairly productive. We had a good chat. We talked about our hatred of the French language, what everybody now has contractually obligated to hate the language of French. That's what you guys signed up for the stream. Talked about New York, talked about games. Had a good Sunday. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And now I'm gonna go make myself some lunch, and then I'll probably film the Shugokara figure video and put it up on socials. It's funny how the Phantom's really trying to be game theorist around here. True. On that note, I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye!